Perfect. Okay. Are you ready for this? Let's go.
Welcome to the 2024 Coaching Summit, brought to you by Inga Company, a global coaching training organization providing coaching qualifications and CPD for coaches. If you're inspired over the next 2 days to continue your coaching journey, be sure to join us on Friday at 9 a.m. and again at 12:30 to find out more about how to do that. For now, we know our speakers are ready to dazzle you with their workshops and masterclasses, so sit back and enjoy. We can't wait to share this experience with you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome, well, maybe welcome back, or maybe welcome to the first day of the Coaching Summit. I don't know about anybody else who's been here with me all day, but I'm going to have that jingle stuck in my head now. It's going to be it's going to be whirling around. So really warm welcome for everybody, whether you've been with us today or you're joining us for the first time. Thank you so much for being here. All of the sessions will allow you to enable captions if you wish, so please go ahead and do that if you need to now. As we're coming to the end of the day for our sessions, it's great. So we're on the final stretch now, with one more after this session. So I will crack on and we will introduce our next speaker. So we have the lovely Maggie Klaassens with us, and she is here today with us to talk about coaching the sober curious, the benefits of alcohol-free living. So thank you so much, Maggie, for being here today with us. Really lovely to see you, and I will hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Shelley, for the introduction. I'm going to go ahead and share my slides, and hopefully all the tech works for me today. First, you can see my crazy background. Oh, there we go. Can you see it okay?
We've got that now. Thank you, Maggie.
Perfect. So Shelley mentioned I'm Maggie Klaassens, and I'm going to be talking today about coaching the sober curious and discovering the benefits of alcohol-free living. I'm curious, before we even jump into this, if anyone has heard of the sober curious term. If you could pop it in the chat of whether you've heard the term sober curious before. Getting a lot of yeses. Good. Oh, good. So the term sober curious is really a term that refers to this movement that's happening right now, where people are being more conscious about living a healthy lifestyle. And part of that is reflecting on how alcohol plays a part of that and really understanding whether alcohol is benefiting them or not. This is really a drinker who doesn't identify with being an addict. They struggle to just remove alcohol. So they have come into conflict with drinking alcohol and recognizing its negative effects on their relationships, and looking to quit altogether, but finding it difficult to do so. So as Shelley mentioned, I'm Maggie Klaassens, and I'm an international health coach and an alcohol-free coach. I trained with Andy Ramage in his coaching and positive psychology course. I also trained with Jolene Park to become a certified alcohol-free coach. I'm also the founder and host of the Sober Summit. I love to help inspire people to go from sober curious to sober serious. And today I'm 758 days alcohol-free. When we're coaching our clients, we often talk about discovering your why and why you want to live alcohol-free. And this is my reason why. So my family, I'm a wife and mom of 3 young kiddos and a new dog. That's Arlo there. We've had him for the last 7 months. And a few years ago, I found myself trapped in the mommy wine culture, which glorifies drinking wine or any type of alcohol to cope with the stresses of motherhood. I didn't love the way I was feeling. I had constant brain fog, which I thought was just permanent mommy brain. I kept up waking in the middle of the night, not being able to fall back asleep. I found myself having a shorter temper with my kids and just constantly feeling like I was stuck. And I just thought there had to be a better life out there. So I started doing all the right things. I started eating right and exercising, meditating and reading more. But it wasn't until I removed alcohol that I really figured out that that was the one thing that was holding me back. So today we're going to walk through the Wheel of Life. You may have seen this before. There's different versions of it. This is just one version that I pulled together. And this is a tool that we use with our clients to figure out what aspects of their life need a bit more nourishing. And again, there's many different versions of this wheel. You can create a version that represents your life. Here I'm showing 8 different categories, but you can remove or add any categories that feel right to you. So if finances, for example, isn't one that's important to you, and volunteering and community services, you can always swap out that category and just create your own wheel of life. So we're going to go through this today. And even if you've been through this exercise before, I encourage you to go through it again because it changes frequently based on what's going on in your life at this very moment. So we're going to take a moment to evaluate each one of these categories on a scale of 1 to 10. So get out a piece of paper or pen or use your iPhone. 10 means you're flying high, and 1 means that aspect of your life requires some serious attention. And there's one caveat here that we can't score a 7. So lucky number 7 is a really easy one to choose. So I really challenge you to either drop it down to a 6 or move it up to an 8. And it really forces you to really think about how that specific category is impacting your life right now. So we're going to start with sleep. So one of the most important aspects of health is sleep. So how would you rate your sleep? Are you getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night? Does your nightly routine promote good sleep habits? Are you waking up feeling refreshed and renewed? Pop your answer in the chat if you feel comfortable. And make sure you write it down because we'll be using this later. So I would love to see, how are you rating your sleep today? Oh, I love how Sabina and Lucy, one chose a 6, one chose an 8. That's great. So not a 7. Perfect. A 4. Okay. Great. We'll let a few more come in. Great. A lot of 8s and 6s. That's great. Okay. So keep that in mind, and we're going to come back to that later on in the presentation. Next is your overall health. When I think of health, I think of my mental, my physical, my emotional, and my spiritual health. You know, are you feeling stressed? Do you feel like you have a balance in your life? How would you evaluate your overall health on a score of 1 to 10? We got a lot of 8s and 9s, a few 6s. A lot of 8s. Okay, great. 5, that's okay. That's good. There's no bad score. That's all where you're at right now. Perfect. Okay, so next is how would you evaluate your physical activity? How often are you engaging in physical activity? Is there a lot of movement in your life right now? How would you evaluate movement as a priority in your life? 1 to 10. Okay. Is cleaning the house included? Yes, Sabina, that can be, although we do have one on home environment, but yes, you can use that as physical activity. Perfect. Okay. So now we're moving on to nutrition. So this is the category most people think about when they think about health. What's on your plate? Do you have a balanced diet? Are you cooking at home? Do you know what ingredients are going into your food and what you're consuming? How do you feel after a meal? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your nutrition? Okay, 6s, 8s. Lucy wanted to rate it a 7. It's really hard not to choose 7. Deb chose a 7. Deb, if you had to move that down to a 6 or up to an 8, what would it be? Okay, perfect. So keep those numbers. Depends on the day. That's right. It does depend on the day. So keep those numbers. Again, we'll be doing, going back to these at the end. Next is home environment. So what is your home environment like? This is one that many people don't really think about, but it does have a huge impact on our health and overall well-being. So do you feel at peace when you walk in the door? Have you created a stress-free environment? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your home environment? 8, 9. Good. 8, 9. Good. Okay. Next up is relationships. So how are your relationships? Are you spending time with people who make you a better version of yourself? Are you spending time with the people you want to be spending time with? Are you creating really strong connections? Do you feel value from your relationships? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your relationships? A lot of 8s and 9s. That's great. Perfect. Okay. Next is career. So we spend most of our life working, unfortunately. So we need careers that fulfill us. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does your career at this moment fulfill you? Are you doing what you want to be doing in life? Okay. 4s, 8, 9. Okay, perfect. And then lastly is finances. So research shows that our self-worth is often correlated with our net worth. So in other words, how much money we make or don't make plays a strong role in how we evaluate ourselves. So how would you say your relationship with your finances is at this moment, 1 through 10? A lot of 6s. 6, 6. Okay. So keep those scores handy. We're going to reevaluate them as we go through this presentation. But it's important to have sort of a baseline of where you fall in each one of these categories at this moment. So now that we've gone through the wheel of life, I want to take a view of it from the lens of an alcohol-free life. This is really a conversation we all need to be having. We oftentimes look at all the other aspects of our life that we want to change, and we don't talk about this one thing that can help improve all of them. By removing this one thing, it can allow us to show up how we want to show up and achieve our goals. So I want to walk through each of these and talk about how alcohol impacts each of these categories, and then we'll reevaluate and see how life could be different for you specifically if alcohol wasn't part of the equation. So with sleep, I'm starting with one of my favorite things, sleep. So being alcohol-free can positively impact your sleep in so many ways. So alcohol disrupts the natural sleep cycle, particularly the REM sleep, which is crucial for restorative sleep. Many people will say that alcohol helps them fall asleep, which is true. It is a sedative, but it also makes you wake up frequently. So when I was drinking, I would constantly be able to fall asleep fine, but then around 1 a.m., I'd wake up and I wouldn't be able to fall back asleep. And that was a continuous cycle. And this is called the rebound effect. This is when at some point in the night, when your liver has metabolized a bit of the alcohol, your body starts making adjustments and it wakes you up. Enhanced sleep patterns. So without the influence of alcohol, we can set our internal body clock. So now that I'm not drinking, my body knows what time it is to go to bed and what time I need to wake up each morning. I don't even set an alarm anymore. I just naturally have this sleep pattern and can do that every single day, which is amazing. Better breathing during sleep. So alcohol relaxes our throat muscles. So you're more likely to have snoring or sleep apnea when you're consuming alcohol. I'm not trying to call my husband out, but yes, every time he's a social drinker, every time he goes out for a night out, he's just snoring so much. So take a look at the next time you fall asleep or your partner, falls asleep after a night of drinking and just notice, do they sleep differently? Are they breathing differently while they're sleeping? And then REM sleep, increased REM sleep. So one of the things that we need for cognitive function and memory and learning is REM sleep. And alcohol suppresses that REM sleep. So when we're alcohol free, we actually get more REM sleep. And this is the one thing that I've noticed since giving up alcohol is that I have more dreams. So your REM sleep is that dreaming stage. The next time you have a night out and you fall asleep, just when you wake up, just notice, did I dream last night? I bet you didn't. And that's because you're not getting that REM sleep that's needed. Overall improved health. So this is just, the quality of sleep is vital for physical recovery and immune system function. Without sleep, we can't have our body recover. So being alcohol free, can help us from a mental perspective and physical perspective as well. Excuse me. Sorry, just one second. I'm so sorry, Shelly. I'm having some sort of, I'm so sorry. I have a tickle in my throat and I can't get rid of it.
Are you okay? Do you need to take a moment?
I do. Just one second. I'm so sorry.
We'll just take a pause there, everyone, for a moment, if that's okay.
I'm going to just say while you're on a break there, Maggie, that you're doing so well. I love how you're using the Wheel of Life. I like how you're using relatable stories about yourself and your family life. That makes it easier for us and the audience to understand. It's clear so far, it's concise, and it's consolidated. You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you, Ray. I'm so sorry. I'm getting over my a cold, so I apologize for that.
Thanks for stepping in there, Ray. I appreciate that.
I'm so sorry.
Don't worry, that's what we're here for.
Okay. So this might be obvious, but reduce nighttime disruption. So alcohol is a diuretic. So obviously we're going to go to bathroom more as we drink more alcohol, and it increases our urine production. So we will go to the bathroom more frequently during the night when we're drinking alcohol. And then lastly, enhanced relaxation and falling asleep faster. So without the initial sedative effects of alcohol, we can actually learn to relax naturally and make falling asleep and staying asleep much easier. Living alcohol-free can also decrease our stress levels, making it easier to fall asleep without the aid of alcohol. So sorry. Okay, so take a look at your sleep score that we did at the very beginning, and take a minute to reflect on your sleep score if you didn't have alcohol as part of your life. Reflect on maybe even a night this week if you had a drink. Could you see the difference? If you had a night that you did drink and a night that you didn't drink, take a look and let me know in the chat if you feel comfortable. What was your before score and what was your after score? Oh, thank you, Katie. I appreciate it. Okay, so now we're running short on time, so I'm just going to keep going. So overall health, one of the biggest health benefits is what's happening on the inside of our body. Without alcohol in our system, our liver can now do its job of metabolizing our hormones and all the other toxins that are part of in our body. We can reduce the risk of fatty liver disease, cirrhosis. Sobriety can help lower blood pressure, reduce cholesterol levels, and decrease the risk of heart disease and stroke. There are a lot of mental benefits of removing alcohol. So alcohol can actually exacerbate our symptoms of anxiety and depression. There's actually a term called hangxiety, which is hangover anxiety, and that's the feeling of overwhelm that people get the next morning after drinking. One of the biggest benefits I saw was better mood stability. I found I had more patience with my kids and I could manage my emotions better. And we just talked about the sleep benefits, but there's a lot going on while we're sleeping. Our body is trying to recover. We're growing new cells. Our nervous system is communicating. We're restoring our molecules and hormones and proteins. There's a lot happening while we're sleeping that can impact our overall health. And when we're not drinking, our sleep is better, and therefore our body can do its job while we're sleeping. Long-term health benefits: alcohol consumption is linked to an increase of risk of various cancers. It's been correlated to breast cancer and colon cancer. So overall, we're reducing the risk of potential cancers and other diseases. And then being alcohol-free can increase our self-esteem and confidence because we're more in control and we know who we are and how we're showing up in this world. I've never felt more confident ever in my life than having alcohol out of it. I've really been able to show up more authentically. I know who I am, and I feel like I'm a better version of myself. And then overall well-being, again, just having this balance and healing, both our physical, mental health, just overall will have more happiness and better well-being. So on a score, on the health score, what would you score before and what would you score now if you could reflect on how better your health would be if alcohol wasn't a part of it? So Lucy says, if I have a few drinks, it becomes a 4 rather than a 6, but I think if I didn't drink, it might be a 7 or 8. That's great. Exactly. Oh, thank you, Santanu. I also was telling Shelly I have a big black box over all my notes. Oh, I can't even read all my notes, but so thank you everyone for being so sweet. Okay, let's move on to physical activity. So obviously without the physical draininess that alcohol, there's a lot that alcohol takes away. We have more energy. We feel better. Our stamina increases. We have less fatigue. So overall, our physical activity is much better. We have improved physical performance. We can actually sustain physical activity for much longer. It improves our muscle function. So I've actually seen quite a few people take on new challenges like marathons and Ironmans, which is so unbelievable. So once they remove alcohol, the sky's the limit to what they can do physically with their bodies. Faster recovery time. So alcohol contributes to inflammation and muscle soreness. So taking away alcohol allows us to recover faster when we do push our bodies. And then better hydration and nutrition. So we talked about alcohol being a diuretic, which can lead to dehydration. So being alcohol-free helps us maintain better hydration. One of the things that I've noticed in sobriety is better in clearer skin, right? So I'm drinking more water, and that means that I'm hydrating myself, and all my cells are just being replenished all the time, which you can physically see once you remove alcohol. Increased motivation. So sobriety often leads to increased motivation and drive to pursue your fitness goals. We now have more time and energy to put towards different hobbies and challenges. So you'll likely find maybe a new workout that you like to do, and you're much more consistent. I was always probably not the best at waking up every morning and working out. I would try my best, and some weeks I would do it really well. Other weeks I was inconsistent, and now I found something that I love, and I'm showing up every day for myself, and being physically active is part of who I am now. Weight management. This one kind of goes without saying, but obviously we're consuming a lot of calories when we're drinking alcohol. So this can help support our fitness goals. I was able to lose my pregnancy weight after I removed alcohol, and that was a big one for me. And then increased social support and engagement. So you oftentimes find different social activities. Rather than going to the bar or restaurant with friends, you're going hiking or taking fitness classes or doing community sports. So sobriety can help increase your social engagement, finding people who align with your values and finding things that you all like to do other than go out and drink. So take a moment to reflect on your physical activity score. What was it before? What would it be now? How would your physical activity change if you removed alcohol? Lucy says her health score was an 8, but maybe that was generous. It could definitely be a 9. She experiences hangover anxiety. It is a thing. Helen says health score would definitely increase a couple of points. Yes. Perfect. Okay, so moving on to nutrition. I'll go through these. I know we're running short on time. So improved nutrient absorption. So without alcohol, your body can actually absorb the nutrients, the minerals, and vitamins that it needs to function. So often when we're drinking alcohol, your liver actually stops metabolizing all these other proteins and hormones, and actually then goes to reduce the waste of alcohol. So now your body can actually absorb the nutrients and do the bodily functions it needs to do to perform well. Healthier food choices. So alcohol can lead to cravings for high fat food, high sugar foods. You can definitely see a difference in your food choices when you remove alcohol. You start creating healthier eating habits. I know for me, I was always eating late at night if I was drinking, or the next morning if I wasn't feeling great, I would eat something very heavy in fat or carbs. So you're definitely making better food choices when you're not drinking. Caloric balance, I think we talked about this, right? There's a lot of calories that we're consuming when we're drinking alcohol, and I think that's something that we don't really think about as we're doing it. And oftentimes, at least for me, I was working out a lot and then, saving room for wine. Even if you are aware of it, sometimes there's a trade-off of you're doing all this exercise and eating right on this end, but you're still consuming something that's very highly caloric and creates bad eating habits. Improved hydration, we talked about this one. So again, just drinking more, eating healthy foods, that all goes towards better and improved hydration. Improved metabolic health. So alcohol can disrupt our blood sugars. It can increase our risk for type 2 diabetes and other diseases. So overall, we have better metabolic health when we remove alcohol. And then positive eating habits, which goes in line with healthy food choices, but we don't overeat or undereat as much when you're not consuming alcohol. So I would find myself undereating sometimes, so I could have that glass of wine, and then at a different part of the night, I'm eating a second meal late at night, right? You don't do that when you're not drinking. So positive eating habits definitely comes with removing alcohol. And then healthier life choices. So without the fatigue caused by alcohol, we find more energy and motivation to prepare healthy home-cooked meals. I know for a lot of people, they can associate drinking with cooking, right? I used to always like to have a glass of wine while I was making dinner. Now I keep the routine. I just change up the ingredients. So there's a ton of non-alcoholic beverages on the market these days. And so I make myself a nice, fun mocktail, or I have an alcohol-free wine. And so I can still feel like I'm doing the same thing, but it's a better choice for me. So overall, how would you rate your nutrition at the beginning of this? And how would you rate it if alcohol wasn't in the picture? Yes, Charlotte says, I know that excuse. I'm cooking, so I deserve a glass of wine. Yes, I ate a lot of Italian food when I was cooking or when I was drinking, just so I could have a nice Italian wine with it. Yes, Santanu talks about the sugar that we often consume after kicking booze. Claire, I've been alcohol-free for over a year and was mostly alcohol-free for 3 years prior. It's the best decision I've ever made. That's amazing. Well done. Perfect. Thank you, everyone, for interacting. This is so fun to see the difference between where you started and hopefully where you think you could be if alcohol wasn't part of the picture. Home environment. So improved relationships. Sobriety for me meant better communication with my husband. I was more patient with my kids. Overall, just my home life improved. Our relationships just are better. We connect more. I connect more with my husband. I play more with my kids. I just have more time for those things. Enhanced emotional stability. So I think I mentioned that at the beginning, but mood stability is a big one. So being able to manage my emotions and creating this, serene and peaceful environment is important to me at home. And I can now spend more time creating that. Increased productivity and responsibility. I don't know about you, but when I was, drinking alcohol and I was hungover the next day, doing something on my to-do list was the last thing I wanted to do. I did not want to vacuum. I did not want to do laundry or clean up. It was just a lazy day. Now I can manage my household duties so much better. For me, that list is still a long to-do list, but I can manage it better. And I just, pop in a good podcast or listen to my favorite music or listen to an audiobook, and I get it done, and that feels really good. Positive role modeling. So for me, this is a really big one. This was a huge part of my reason why. I didn't want my kids to think that the only way to celebrate was by popping a bottle of champagne, or the only way to deal with stress is to drink and numb yourself. So now I'm sharing the tools that I've learned to regulate my nervous system and sharing them with my kids. So we really love to do yoga together, or we'll do some breath work, or really, just pop music on and start dancing around the kitchen when someone's feeling a little low. Safer environment. So without alcohol impairing judgment, the risk of accidents and injuries at home decreases, making it a safer place for everyone. You don't have to be drunk to create an unsafe environment. I think a lot of research being done now where, kids understand that their parents are acting a bit differently. Maybe they're a little silly, a little goofier, and it can make them feel unsafe. There doesn't have to be conflict for it to be an unsafe environment. There were definitely nights when, I had 3 glasses of wine instead of 2. And I would think to myself, gosh, if something were to happen right now, if my kids needed me and I had to get in the car and drive, would I be able to do that? I don't know. It wouldn't have been the best decision. So definitely creating a safer environment at home. And then improved home maintenance. So I can maintain a cleaner and more organized home. Now I have time for home improvement projects. So excuse me. So sorry. Okay, I'm going to get through this. Now I can actually do all those Pinterest projects that I've been posting to my DIY Pinterest board, which is a lot of fun. And that's one of the things my husband and I love to do together now. So looking at your home environment score, what would you rate it before? What did you rate it at the beginning of this? And what would you rate it now if you looked at it from a an alcohol-free lens? Thank you, Deb. Thanks, Kate. Perfect. Okay, so we got a few more relationships. And again, I'll go through these fairly quickly because I know we're running out of time. But relationships, improved communication, emotional stability, a lot of these intertwine, right? So we talked about improved communication, having a clearer mind, having mood stability, increased trust and reliability. So one thing that I learned in sobriety is that I'm very much a people pleaser and would do anything for anybody. But now I'm actually more true to myself. I can say no to things that I don't want to do, and I can say yes to the things that align with my values. So I feel like I'm showing up the way that I want to show up, and that only allows me to show up better for other people as well. Quality time, the time I spend with my husband and my friends and my kids now is just way different. I'm actually down on the floor playing with my kids. I'm climbing up the playground set, I'm playing tag, I'm doing all the things. I'm not just sitting there drinking and worrying about when I was going to have my next glass of wine. I'm really spending quality time with the people I love. Conflict resolution. So, fights and arguments and conflicts don't go away, but having that clearer mindset, being able to take a step back, being able to manage your emotions makes healthier conflict resolution. So we have more constructive conversations now when things arise versus, something that's more reactive. Intimacy. So my husband and I just have a much greater connection now. And I feel so great in my own skin. So, enhanced intimacy is something you'll find as well from, removing alcohol. Increased respect and support. So this one kind of goes without saying, but you build mutual respect for each other when alcohol isn't involved. I know that I'm surrounding myself with people who value my well-being as much as I value their well-being. And then building stronger bonds. So, people will say that they'll lose friends if you remove alcohol. And yes, that could be true. There are definitely people in your life that you'll realize the only thing you had in common was alcohol, and that's okay. The friends that have stayed, I know, are true friends and like me for me. And I've had the opportunity to meet so many incredible people in this community, and surrounding myself with people who are like-minded, who value the same things I do, has just created such an enriching life. So relationship score before and after, if anyone wants to pop it into the chat. Lucy says her home environment was a 6, could be a 9. That's great. Career. So improved job performance. And I'll go through these fairly quickly. Better mental clarity and decision-making. Enhanced professional image. This one's a huge one for me. When I'm out at work, I have a full-time job too. When I'm out at networking events, like, I know that I'm showing up, and it feels so good to be at a work function and know that I'm not going to say anything stupid or do anything silly in front of my coworkers or my boss. I don't have that anxiety the next day of like, oh, what did I say or do? I know I'm showing up the way I want to show up at work. Better health and reduce absenteeism. So not having any of those 6 days for anyone who's in HR, like the number of sick days for employees definitely goes down. Improved relationships and networking. So if you work with clients or colleagues, one of the things that I have found is that I listen when people talk when I'm networking. I actually listen now, and I pick up little tidbits about them. I pick up, the vacation that they went on, or the name of their child, or the name of their dog. And I bring that back into our next conversation, and people are always so impressed that I remember those things, but I'm actually listening now. I'm actually present and fully listening. And it's a very small thing, but it's incredibly powerful. And then greater career advancement opportunities. There's definitely, when you're have a clearer mind, you can pursue your career goals and opportunities. It frees up a lot of free time to maybe learn a new skill, or do something more for yourself in your career, show up more, take on some extra projects. So there's definitely an opportunity for career advancement as well. Career score before and after, if anyone wants to pop it in the chat. Oh, thank you, Caroline. Caroline says your personal experience brings so much to this. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, and lastly, finances. So, of course, one of the most immediate financial benefits is the money you're saving from not buying alcohol, whether it's at bars, restaurants, or even for at home. Dining out can also become cheaper because you're not drinking as much. I will say that a lot of the mocktails are just as expensive sometimes, but you do save a lot of money because you're not drinking as many of them. Health-related savings. So alcohol can lead to various health issues, which can be costly to treat. This is definitely one where you're saving money from any health-related costs. There's actually some insurance policies that will reduce your premiums for non-drinkers because they know that you have a lower risk as well. So that's also a huge benefit. And enhanced productivity and earnings. This kind of goes along with the careers, but you have the opportunity for promotions, raises, new job opportunities. So there's definitely a financial gain there as well. avoidance of alcohol related costs. So, you know, obviously there's always the chance that you get in a car and drive, you get a DUI or any other legal, you know, offense that can be very costly. And then long-term financial benefits. So money not spent on alcohol can be saved or invested. There's a lot of apps out there that not only count the number of days that you have been alcohol free, but also count how much money you've saved, which is just amazing. And so I've seen people go on these incredible trips with all this money they've saved from not drinking alcohol, or they've bought them that. I had someone who bought themselves this beautiful ring. So definitely there's some opportunities for you to, you know, take that money, invest, and do something really meaningful with that money. And then more discretionary income. So again, that money saved could go to learning a new skill. You know, I went back to school to become an alcohol-free coach. You can invest in, you know, something like real estate or something like that. You can go on these amazing vacations. There's a lot you can do with more discretionary income. So finance score, this is a big one, right? You can save a lot of money not drinking alcohol. Beat me to it, Maggie. Looks like the coaching course with the best thing you did. Yes, thank you. It's amazing. I never would have had this life if I was still drinking alcohol. So I hope that by going through this exercise, you can see that there are major benefits of alcohol-free living. You know, I picked 8 categories in this wheel of life, but you literally could put any category you want, and living an alcohol-free life will have a positive impact on that category. It doesn't mean that there won't be growing pains, but ultimately life will be better. So for those that are sober curious, and if this resonates with you, I encourage you to head over to my website, www.thesobersummit.com. I'm also on Instagram at The Sober Summit. And I have a free guide for sober curious resources. This is a PDF, a downloadable PDF that includes over 60 what we call quit lit books, but books on sobriety and alcohol-free podcasts to listen to. Also on my website is a link where you can get on the wait list for the next Sober Summit, which is September 25th through 27th. It is a free event. We have 24 speakers come on, share their stories of how they've become alcohol-free, and tips and resources and tools that you can use in your journey. Any questions? So thank you. Shelly's popped in the actual links to the resource guide and the events page. Thank you, Ray and Rich. Thank you so much. Are there any questions? Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you, Allie. Perfect. Well, you can always reach me through the website or on Instagram. And thank you so much for your time today. I apologize for the coughing attacks, but I appreciate you all being so sweet. And hopefully, if anything, this is just giving you some food for thought and created some self-awareness just to understand how alcohol impacts your life in every way.
Oh, thank you so much, Maggie, and thank you so much for powering through that. Everyone will appreciate, obviously, you being able to get through that like you did. So we're all human and we're all in this together. So thank you so much for that. And thank you everyone for joining us again for another amazing session. I know so many of you have popped so many lovely comments in the chat, which obviously we'll share with Maggie so she can read those later. So thank you again. I appreciate that. And just once again, we're just sharing details of our Q&A session that we have ourselves this Friday, the 5th of July at 9:30. We have a Q&A with Zoe about training to be a coach. And at 12:30 p.m, we have a Q&A with Joe about our CPD courses, emotions coaching practitioner training, and our foundations of group and team coaching. If any of you aren't sure where to find the links, they should be in the emails that you've received part of the registration sign up, so you can find them in there, but we'll also be popping them in the warm-up group as well. So once again, thank you, Maggie, so much for today, and thank you everyone for joining us. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Maggie.